Hi, I'm Anjanette, and welcome to this session of Journey Home. This is my story. So, I don't know if I've ever introduced myself as the nurse, the holistic practitioner, the leaky gut, thyroid, and weight loss expert, but there you have it. So, what has me online doing this show? I think that so many people out there feel like they're the only ones that feel a certain way or the only ones going through things. And I think by sharing my story, people will know they're not alone out there. So, because I do all of those things I just talked about, this show is going to move a little bit more into health. I am going to be talking about gut. So I help people with thyroid and I help people with weight loss. But I do that through the gut because if they don't repair their gut, they are not getting a balanced thyroid. They are not losing that weight and keeping it off for good. So it's really that simple, right? So people think I'm out here talking about a lot of things, but I'm only talking about one thing, the human body, and that's something I've been doing for 40 years. And if I do say so myself, I'm pretty freaking good at it. So that being said, I don't mean to sound cocky. It's just that I've dedicated my life to mastering what I do. So I don't take it lightly when I say that I'm good. You know, I've been in this a long time, different aspects of health for 40 years. And I continually learn. I continue to grow. So, I mean, people who think they know it all are actually dangerous to other people. So I'm not afraid to ask for help, and I'm not afraid to do that research to get answers to help people in a better way, right? So that's a big part of my journey. So I was that sick person, as you know, because I was so busy taking care of other people that I stopped taking care of myself. Yes, I did. So got lost in there. So I talk a lot about health in my groups. I tell people what they need to know. I can't make people listen. These big pharmaceutical companies and the government and all these people in healthcare have really been pushing people towards sickness for a really long time. And I promised myself that if I came out here that I was going to be honest and transparent about it, right? Because I need to do that. So there's been kind of like a pause there because a lot of people are going to get upset what I have to say, but I can't share openly and honestly and help people if I don't tell them why this is so important that they really pay attention. You know, the pharmaceutical companies really only care about one thing, and that's money. And healthcare is big business, and that's all they really care about, right? So we're not a piece of that puzzle anymore. There are things that are being served in America that have been taken off shelves in other countries and declared unsafe, yet they are still on our shelves here. And you have to look at that, and you have to try and understand why that's happening in a country that's supposed to be, a world leader, because we're not leading in anything. What we are leading in is sickness. 74% of the American population is overweight. 44% total population is considered obese. The top 10 medications in America are for heart disease, obesity, liver, kidney issues. So it doesn't look good for us. 30% of our children are obese, right? So I talk about health. I educate people on things. This morning, I think my reel was on fatty acids. Well, so I've been talking in the groups about amino acids and fatty acids and omega-6 and omega-3 specifically. Those fatty acids are really supposed to be balanced, and they should be in a 1-to-1 ratio, 4-to-1, 1-to-1, 4-to-1 being the omega-3. So it's really closer to 20-to-1, sometimes is even high as 40-to-1 in the American diet. And this is leaving the bodies in a pro-inflammatory state. This is having a major impact on our hormones, our heart health, and our gut health, right? So it's affecting your cardiovascular health, your immunity, everything, right? So eating omega-3s in balance with those omega-6 can make a big difference. A lot of medications, omega-3 medications, are sold omega-3, 6, and 9. So look at those labels and read what that percentage is, lean more towards omega-3s, those fatty fish, those nuts, all that good stuff, right? So we're going to be talking about health and digestive health. We're going to be breaking some of those myths that people are believing are true for a really long time, and they really just have no basis in reality whatsoever. So I did partner with the company Live Good. So it means that I recommend their products because they are all natural, and I am that person. Food is medicine, right? So a lot of people have approached me online since I've been out here asking me to promote their products, and I've always given them a reason no. And the reason for that is because I can't be food is medicine and pushing products down somebody's face either. So in the same breath that I was telling my group that, I also told them if they're not sufficient in vitamins, they shouldn't be taking them. Because your body is amazing, and what happens is if you're not sufficient, you urinate them out. So you are literally pissing away your money. That's right. So you can have like a chem panel, a CMP, and complete metabolic panel, and it will tell you if you're deficient in any of those vitamins and stuff. And then you should ask, the recommended thing that you should be taking, not just going out there and swallowing vitamins. So another thing is, like, people really push probiotics, and I want to tell you the truth. There's no weight to that whatsoever, right? So a lot of people, some people are selling probiotics for $90 a bottle, and for me, honestly, it's just a waste of money, and here's why. We eat the fruits, the vegetables, and the whole grains, and those lean meats, right? All those things, the fruits, vegetables, and whole grains. Those are your prebiotics. Those feed the probiotics, which is the bacteria collectively, the fungi, the bacteria, the algae, all that stuff that lives in your gut, which I've gone over is 90% of your body. It's all organisms, right? So, that food that we're eating feeds those probiotics. So I talk about balance is key, because if you're always eating, and variety is really key as well, because if you're always eating the same kinds of food, you're only maybe feeding the bacteria and the fungi. So there will be an imbalance in that gut microbiome. You can cause your own dysbiosis just by eating the same food. That's why variety is the spice of life. But what happens is, if there's low acidity in your body, you cannot absorb those probiotics that you're getting at a doctor or something like that are dead. They're not live, and your body wants that live bacteria. So what happens is, if there's low acidity, you're not going to absorb them, and they're not going to be able to colonize, right? Your body won't be able to break them down. So they are just wasted. But the other thing is, there's such small amounts in these pills that after they pass through the digestive process, there's minimal to zero. And your body needs billions and billions of live bacteria, different kinds, to really thrive, right? So, so things like kefir are great, kombucha is great. My favorite is kefir. It's the best that I've found. It has billions of live bacteria and different kinds in there, and it really is good for your gut. So you really should be getting this stuff from a healthy diet. So should you be spending all of this money on things that are not working for you? No, you should consult with someone who actually has your best interest at heart and can really sit down and tailor something to what your needs are. So the other thing with gut health is that people that, have these programs that in 30 days they're going to clean your gut and stuff like that. So that's also not true, because it's a process. So How fast you're able to restore the gut depends on the age of life you're in now and how long you've had that issue and how many other systems have been affected by that issue. Because all of our systems work together. So when the gut comes down, okay, and the system stops functioning at optimal level, it's going to impact everything that runs on that axis. So thyroid, brain, heart, all of those things, okay? But the gut also works very closely with the liver, the adrenals, which are your kidneys, in case you don't know what I mean by that, your pituitary, and the thyroid, which I told you. So all these systems in the liver. So they're all working together. So you do have to do a multi-focus cleanse and really reboot your system as a whole, not just working on this one piece, right? You do have to take into consideration other comorbidities that people have, right? So what you can do with one person, you might not be able to do with another, right? So a lot of people talk about they're heavy, you know, it's in their genetics, everybody in their family is heavy, and genetics is only really 1% of what goes on in your body, really. 1%. So, and you can really change that trajectory with lifestyle and diet. Yes, exercise, lifestyle changes, you can change the risk of that happening. So it's good to know what's in your genetic line, but more so you can prevent things from happening because you are at higher risk for that, right? So certain families have a high risk of cancer, right? So certainly they shouldn't be smoking, right? Because there's a lot of carcinogens in there. But certain foods are better at decreasing the rest. Foods with your anti-inflammatory and your antioxidants and your phytonutrients and your polyphenols, all of those foods are going to reduce the oxidative stress in your body. They're going to decrease the risk of the cancer because they do have properties that will reduce those risks, right? So we want to be mindful of things like that. So 99% of the population is eating out of habit, eating for enjoyment, eating for celebration. But people need to think of eating as when I eat this, I get this, right? That it's something that fuels your body. You eat to thrive, not to survive, right? So, yeah. So that's what we're going to be talking about. We're going to be talking about some of these type of things, and where you're at on your journey is something I'm excited to find out about, because you could always message me below any one of my videos. I will get back to you. I enjoy meeting new people, and if you have questions, you can always ask me, because that's kind of why I'm here, right? I want to help people in a real way. So there's a lot of misconceptions about health, especially about gut health out there. But there's a lot of great information out there on gut health too. So just be mindful of what you're listening to, and really, really focus on that. So a lot of people talk. I once heard somebody say that your body doesn't know the different kinds of stress, and it really, really, really made me upset, because your body, because she really had no idea what she was talking about, and she was just out there saying things to be saying it. And your body absolutely does know the difference, between eustress and distress. Your body does actually work very well with stress, mostly eustress, and there are ways that you can force your body into eustress more often, right? So you can stress the body, different parts of the body, for certain periods of time, 2 days max, and kind of reboot them. It's kind of amazing the way it happens, right? So you just have to know the systems to target. It's something I've been doing for a long time. I am somebody that has several autoimmune diseases, because they are gone. They are in remission. I haven't had any problems with them for well over a decade. Some of them as much as 15 years now. So your body does do well under stress, but not the distress, not the types of stress we're giving it. So this particular person went on to say that too much cortisol for your body is no good, and your body would just stop making it. And that's also not true. Your body can never stop making cortisol. It's in every fiber of your being, your saliva, your hair shaft, it's everywhere. And if you stop making cortisol, it would be a medical emergency. You would die. So just be mindful that there's a lot of people out there telling people crazy things. People telling people to drink salt water, that your body's mostly salt. It's not something people should be telling people. People that have hypertension can't be drinking salt water. People with kidney issues, people who are on fluid restriction, people with Meniere's disease. There's so many reasons and ways that can harm somebody or kill somebody. So if you don't have that knowledge, you shouldn't be out there sharing that knowledge, right? So I've been doing this a long time. I stay in my lane. I'm not a doctor, so I speak about what I do know, and I've done that research for 15 years, right? So it's probably longer now. I was sick since I was a childhood. I had all kinds of hormonal issues and stuff like that. So we're going to start talking about that. We are going to talk a little bit about thyroid health, because thyroid is something I've been living with for, I think I'm going to be 59 this year. I'm not really sure if it's 58 or 59. I've been making myself a year older for as long as I can remember, so that when the birthday actually comes, I'm okay with it. So I think it is 59 this year, though. So but we're going to talk about thyroid, because it's very concerning for me. My thyroid isn't a problem. I do have autoimmune Hashimoto's. It's not a problem for me anymore. It used to be a big problem for me, and a lot of that problem comes from misdiagnosing. So there's, I want to say, 40 million people in America, I might be off a little bit on those numbers, that have a thyroid disease, and more than half of them go undiagnosed. 8 out of 10 women in their lifetime will have a thyroid problem. But the other end of that is that doctors tend to treat in a subtherapeutic way. So let me explain what I mean by that. So thyroid medication can lead to bone loss and heart complications, but thyroid disease can lead to heart complications and bone loss regardless whether you're not on that medication or not. So and it doesn't matter if you're on 50 micrograms or 75 micrograms or 100 or 200 micrograms. Any dose comes with that risk. So why keep somebody subtherapeutic and unhappy today for something that might happen 20 years down the road, or might not ever, right? So you can go and have bone density tests and follow up on yourself and see where yours at. But we are going to dive a little into eating well. So a lot of the things you do for your gut, you do for your thyroid, with a few exceptions, and we will talk about those. Like certain foods you really shouldn't be having for your thyroid, but it's been my experience that a lot of what people say about that also not true, because I eat them all. So you really should stay away from cruciferous vegetables, but I found that just cooking them instead of having them raw makes a big difference, right? So I bake them. I don't steam them, I bake them, and I've never had any problems with it. You do need to get all your micronutrients and your macronutrients, and you do need to have a wide variety of different foods. And when you set out to have like 3/4 of your plate really fruits, vegetables, and that 1/4% whole grains and meats, you will do better, right? So my nose is so itchy, and I don't know why. I don't know why. It happens every time I'm on this call with you guys, I think. Um, so what I want to tell you is that with the information age, it brings a lot of good people out to help. People that have been mentoring and coaching probably most of their life, right? But it does bring out a certain element of crazy people too, who are using that just like pharmaceutical companies to make money. And they have no concern, and they have no moral compass, and they also don't have any skills in the area of what they're teaching for the most part. And they're just taking people's money, and they're not getting them those results that they're promising, and they're saying it was because they didn't show up or whatever excuse they are, right? There's no guarantees. So if you're one of those people that are out there and you're trying to get a certain result, ask those people before you sign anything or pay for anything, what guarantees do you have, right? Will they work with you until they get you those results if you don't get those results? So there should be something in place to say that you do have to show up and do all the work and stuff like that, because otherwise it's just a license for everybody to have free programs. But you do have to go full out for yourself. So I know that a lot of people feel trapped in a body sometimes. They look at themselves in the mirror and they don't like the person that's staring back. I didn't go in a clothing store for a long time. I used to wrap the clothes around my neck because your neck and your waist circumference is the same. So I wouldn't change in a dressing room because I was embarrassed that I had let myself get to that point, right? I was this big and then I was this big. So it does have an impact on our emotional wellness, our self-esteem. But there's nothing that you can't change in your health. Everything that happens in your body can be reversed. You just have to reverse that process. Maybe you started getting really busy and you stopped taking care of yourself. Maybe you used to go to the gym 7 days a week or 2 days a week, and now you don't go at all. So look at your life where you are now and where you used to be and start reversing that process. The other thing is that a lot of people don't understand how emotional wellness plays into all that. So a lot of times we're holding on to things that we've been holding on to for a long time. A grievance, we're angry at someone, or a loss that we had in our family, or that we just never worked through, or anything that we're holding on to is creating sickness in our body. And that's a fact, right? There was unresolved feelings, though you lacking the ability to forgive somebody for something that happened 10 years ago. They've gotten over it and you're still holding on with it. So you do a lot of times have to do that inner work, that hard, grueling work that nobody wants to do, to look at themselves in the mirror and say, who am I? Where am I at? And how did I get here? But that is a big part of the process. And then the rest of the process is just taking small steps every day, and you will see big results. So we're going to talk a little bit more about health. We're going to talk a little bit about some of the things that you're seeing out there. So I know I've explained gut health here. I'm pretty sure I have. But basically, the crux of it is very simple. 90% of your body is microorganisms. It is the microbiome that started in the birth canal and has become your second brain. So it is connected to the vagus nerve, and it communicates all day long with the brain. But if, for whatever reason, the vagus nerve got severed, your gut would take care of all of those jobs independently on its own. So a lot of people think the brain's in charge, but the gut is really in charge. And we'll talk more about that, and we'll talk about the science behind that. So your gut is like the gatekeeper. It keeps all those fungus and bacteria and everything behind that gate, that wall, right? And its permeability is pretty strong, right? So what happens over time, people that have had surgeries or they took a lot of different kinds of medications like ibuprofen, Tylenol, it could be trauma. There's a lot of things. It could be eating the same types of foods all the time. We just talked about this, right? There's lots of things that can lead to leaky gut, right? Or dysbiosis. But it is correctable. It is correctable. You can restore the damage. And what happens is in leaky gut, the wall starts to dissipate. So the permeability starts to become more transparent, I guess you could say. Like it starts to separate. So there's now little holes in that lining, and all of those things that your gut has been protecting you from, which itself, right, the bacteria and all that stuff, is now leaking out into the blood system, and it's going throughout the body, right? So yeah, so that's kind of what happens, and that's why it's so hard for people to diagnose it or get help, because it really is going throughout the whole body. It could show up as skin infections and mood disorders like depression, anxiety. People, it's linked to Alzheimer's, it's linked to autoimmune disease, it's linked to just about everything. So they said that it's linked to about 85% of most diseases, and I want to say it's linked to 100, right? Because it is the process by which we absorb, right, those nutrients that we're taking in and digest, right? So, so we're going to be getting into this. We are going to talk about the thyroid a little bit, and we are going to talk about how all this comes together into one nice piece to be the answer to your weight loss issues. So if you're somebody out there that's really having a hard time losing weight, then this is something you're going to want to stay tuned for, because we are going to talk about that. So I'm doing a challenge. I did a post about the challenge, and I wrote September 15th that I was only doing challenges until after the new year, and then I said September 15th, and my audience must have been like, what is she talking about? It's only November. I meant November 15th. So it's 30 days. And this will give people the 30 days with me, but the price of the challenge is also the price of a membership program with me too. So they will have access to me for that entire year. And they will get adjustments as they need it. But we are going to detox their body, and we are going to reboot their metabolism. Yes, we are. I give them everything they could possibly need, all of the checklists, cheat sheets, and there's some work that they have to do. They do have to do a 7 levels deep questionnaire to really see why this is important to them. Because if it's not that important to you, if you're like a 2 on the level of importance, then you're not motivated to achieve that, right? So for people to work with me, they have to be at 7 out of 10 motivated. Otherwise, I'm just wasting my time, right? And I want to help, but you can't help people until they want to help themselves. It's really that simple. You couldn't have helped me when I wasn't ready, right? That's anybody. If you're not ready, you're not ready. But I love doing this challenge. I still do it to this day. And I just love the way it makes my body feel. It really cleans out my system. So I do this repeatedly in my life. So I'm excited about that. And then we're going to do a 90 Day to Freedom after that. And then maybe after that, I'll go back into more one-to-one. I do like the group setting better, honestly. I like a bigger audience. I think the motivation and the accountability is better when you have people all working towards the same goal. That's just my belief. But I'm working on, this is what I'm working on. I'm working on a 6-part series, 6-book series, and I'm 2 books into it. I just started the 2nd book today, actually, right? It's fun. It's, they're really guides on something that I think people don't talk about enough out here. And they've never explained this concept. And for the life of me, I don't know why. So I'm going to do it. And then, so yay me! So I'm doing that. And then I'm doing a book on addiction, which I've already made until after it comes out. And then I'm doing one on COVID-19, long COVID, because one of my friends asked me to do it for her, and I said, sure. So, and I'd like to have these all done by the new year. So, the 6th part is fun, and I'm really getting into it, so those are going to fly by, but and it's something I've been doing for 40 years, so it's not like I don't need to do a lot of research or anything like that to really put the book together. It's all coming out of my head. So the one on addiction is really close to home. I am someone that addiction is part of my life, right? I think addiction is part of everybody's life. In America, people are addicted to food, addicted to sex, addicted to this. But where this book is going to be a different perspective on that. So that's that. So I did want to come in and spend some time with you. I haven't been in. I told you I was going to do at least 1 or 2 of these a month. So next time I come in, we're going to talk about a specific topic in thyroid, maybe about repairing your thyroid, right? Medications you should stay away from. So let's mention that now that I put it out there. So there's a lot of natural medications out there like Armour Thyroid that are supposed to be all natural, and they're not really the greatest, and they do cause fast bone loss, but at an expedited rate. I couldn't think of what I was trying to say, but yeah, at an expedited rate it does decrease the bone loss. My mother, who did not listen about health, she was on Armour Thyroid. My mother was 5'6" and was soon 4'11", so I know what I say, but if you look at the history of that, a lot of people that are on that do have those reactions. So just use caution. Always investigate things that you put into your body before you put them in. So I'm Jeanette, and I want to thank you for being with me on this week of The Journey Home. Take care.